Hey YouTube, what do you do? Very
Right
appropriate.
on time.
Right on time. When your dog barks at people.
Yeah.
You know what? It's one of those things that is such an uncomfortable thing. Having a dog that can bark at people certainly can become a real pain point. You might know someone with a dog that barks at people. You might be someone with a dog that barks at people. What can you do? Because YouTube, we've been there.
Yeah.
We've seen it. We've done it. We have it. We know it. We absolutely feel we have some top tips to help you.
Now, the important thing to say is that we're gonna use your dog's daily food allowance for this, because effectively what your dog, I guess, can't decide is there's a person there, they're important, are they good, are they bad? And your dog might even be flipping between excitement, fear, or just actually flipping between fear and fear, right? And they're quite worried. And so first things first, we're gonna work at a distance. We're gonna work with our dog on lead because we don't want them to run up to that person. That's not gonna be in your dog's interest, the person's interest. And we're just gonna work at an appropriate distance, and we're gonna feed for seeing people. Now, that doesn't mean we have to go places to find people. Probably your dog's seeing people all the time and you can't avoid them to some extent. Equally, there'll be some places where you can go with your dog where I'll call it where people are on a mission, okay? And that means
like
that they're going
supermarket, somewhere that they're already preoccupied.
Yeah.
So they're not really interested in you or your dog, whether your dog's cute or puppy or really lovely to look at. It doesn't really matter. They're not there for you. And in that environment, we'd like to employ our dogs with something they're really comfortable with. So for example, this little dog here, she's very comfortable with middle. She's very comfortable with middle on the move. If you haven't played these games, go check out our other YouTube videos that definitely show you lots of our games, or become part of the Training Academy. We show you the games, all of them, every single one in there. She plays games that she's very comfortable with, and also games that I would say, another one might be her side, that she's actually in close proximity. So I've actually got her in close proximity to me. So she is actually wanting to be close proximity. I think that's important. And notice, acknowledge that she will come back to close proximity, because these are the games we're going to try and employ her in.
That's the key. You know, we're training our dogs. Other people aren't training our dogs. What we never would advise, and it kind of makes us crazy when we see it, is when strangers are being asked to give dogs food. All that's doing is creating a conflict with the dog. The dog kind of wants the food, also really doesn't want to be near the person, quite worried about them. And that creates a bit of an emotion explosion, that conflict of emotion. And so that is something that we would not do, and we would not advise anybody does.
And most importantly, like we said right at the beginning, this is her ditch the bowl.
Yeah.
So the only way that she's getting her dinner is through games and through the vortex that is basically me. And so actually, to get the food, these are the games that she is going to feel more comfortable with. So you actually have all of the power over the people that your dog might be barking at, because effectively your dog's earning their dinner in a really fun way in that potential proximity.
Yeah. Now, when you have a dog that barks at people, there will be lots of people you will come across where they will tell you that there's no hope. They'll tell you that's going to be really difficult. They'll tell you that can't be changed. And I guess what we're here to say, and the reason why we made this video, is because actually this can be changed. This can be transformed. There's so much that you can do. There is a game for that. In fact, there are many games for that. We've given you a starter here, but never let somebody put a label on your dog, actually rip that label off and say, there's a game for that. There's something that we can do about this.
Most importantly, we know that having a dog that barks at people can actually be quite painful. And we know that it can be quite inhibiting and actually stopping you from going to do things or seeing people or going to certain places. Most of all, work on the games in the comfort of a space where your dog is very happy, very get it, very keen to be, very sort of in their own, comfy in their own skin. Grow those games, use your food, use your ditch the bowl, experience everything that Absolute Dogs does, because ultimately Absolute Dogs celebrates dogs like this and wants to incorporate and involve dogs like this and not exclude them from any learning. You know what? With Absolute Dogs, no dog is ever lost. And so for me, play these games in comfortable spaces and actually make it your mission to use your food each and every day playing games like this, to the point that when your dog does see someone, it really becomes none of their business. They're very invested in what they're doing with you. And ultimately, I know with this little dog, so Eliza was training her in the garden the other day. The gardener walked through. She doesn't know the gardener. She doesn't particularly like novel people walking through the garden. And she looked up and then she went straight back to work with Eliza. No bark moment. We were like, wow, like this is really, really cool. So rather than find all the things that your dog is doing badly right now, potentially give them a bit of a break, make it a little bit easier, and then start to look for the good in them, because I bet it's there. Often that barking is just that worry about the novelty, the worry about what's happening, and ultimately lacking some confidence. What we need to do is implement these games and these strategies with dogs like this each and every day. And we know, YouTube, you can do it.
So we covered the number one thing that you should not do if your dog barks at people, and then what to be thinking about doing instead. This information needs to get out there. Make sure to share it with friends, hit subscribe on the YouTube channel.
Absolutely our mission to reach dogs and dog owners all over the world, just like this one, and actually make sure we bring out the very best in them, rather than sort of really, I suppose, seeing the worst in them. Hit subscribe. We want to see more of you. We want to see more of your friends. We'll see you next week.
Remember, game changers, whatever the dog owning struggle, there's a game for that.
If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to our channel.
And check out our new 25-day online dog training challenge. Watch the videos, play the games, transform your dog owning struggles.
As a loyal YouTube subscriber, you can get a 70% discount through the link in the description below.
And if you haven't already, subscribe to the #1 most transformational dog training podcast on iTunes and Spotify, the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast.
And remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more live teaching, video content and free training using the links in the description.